So from nowhere, the Women's United States Championship was revealed on SmackDown recently, to the point, if we do believe the rumors, none of the women's roster knew. Now, I can actually understand this, you don't want things to leak, but at the same time, it did feel a little bit too random, and it just felt like a missed opportunity when it came to the story, and it's confused me so much, I can't even talk, but you catch my drift. But listen, this is long overdue. The women should have had a secondary championship, 10 years ago, if we're being completely honest, but thankfully we have got there, and even though I'm recording this before Raw, on the 11th of November, it wouldn't surprise me if Adam Pearce announces an Intercontinental Women's Champion. So we will do this video for that as well. But for now, we're focusing on the US belt. And these are my 10 predictions, ranked in the order from probably not going to get it to give it to this person. And number 10 is Blair Davenport. Now, as of me talking to you, I don't know where Blair Davenport is. I don't like speculating on these things too much because maybe she has a personal issue, maybe she's injured, maybe there's just something that we don't know at the moment. But she did get called up in the summer, and since then, she hasn't really done much of anything other than feud with Naomi and get beaten by Naomi. Now listen, everyone's going to have a different opinion, not just on Blair Davenport, but any single wrestler walking the planet. But if you are going to have them on SmackDown, you should do something with them. This is why maybe a story aspect would have been better. I mean, maybe they're going to do some kind of a tournament, but if all of a sudden you did have big plans for Blair Davenport, I have no issue, let's just say it is a tournament. We'll make it up, we'll pull out our rectum. I have no problem with someone like Blair winning. It's what I'd love to do with the Royal Rumble one year, although I don't think you can, just because it is only once every 12 months. Just somebody wins. All of a sudden, they're off to the races, and you can be like, oh, hi, this person's a big deal, and you should care about them. So, of course, Blair winning would cause lots of controversy, but if after the fact, again, you can do something with her and super-duper push her in 2025, then it wouldn't be a problem at all. And let's not forget, whoever does win can walk around going, I was the first ever Women's United States Championship. You can build a whole career off something like that, as long as it's done right. Number 9 is Candace Ray. Now, if you'd asked me this even a month ago, I'd have gone, it's not going to be Candace Ray, because Candace wasn't able to get on TV. But as of me talking to you, not only is she embroiled in like a mini feud with Bayley, but she's been getting some victories too, and she has been featured. She also did the most upsetting thing that's happened in 2024, when she did her high five thing, but of course Indy Hartwell wasn't there, which is somewhat ironic, because I probably would have stuck Indy Hartwell in this list, and maybe even in place of Blair Davenport, for exactly the same reasons. But, I mean, it just ties into what I've said. If we are trying to establish Candace as this bad guy character, maybe don't have her go up to people and say, ha ha, your brother is dead, which is what she did with Maxine Dupree a few months ago, which I'll never get over, especially because it was dropped quicker than my hairline disappeared. But it would just cement whatever you're trying to do with her, and it also gets rid of all the bad booking she has had to suffer ever since being called up from the main roster. I mean, this kind of ties into Tiffany Stratton, right? At the moment, Tiffany is losing, because of course, when she cashes in her Money in the Bank briefcase and become the Women's World Champion, nobody will remember her win-loss record. It's WWE's favorite thing to do. So, I do think Candace Ray is an outside bet, but ultimately I don't think she's going to do it. Number 8 is Roxana Perez, because Roxana Perez, I know she's the NXT Women's Championship right now, but she could lose that. She's about to have a feud with like 7 different people. But you could call up Roxana Perez right now. Not only would she be one of the best women on the main roster, but if she won a championship, it would be amazing, right? It would be so damn cool. It would also, if she did lose to a Julia or Stephanie Vaquer or Jord and Grace, who the hell knows, it would also, wipe that, not from your memory, so to speak, but wipe it from her momentum log, whatever you ever want to say, again, for the same reasons we just touched upon, because even though she did suffer a defeat in the world of wrestling, she got called up to the main roster, and the first thing she did is win a championship. Now, I don't know when this is going to culminate, right? Maybe it's going to pay off at WrestleMania. I don't know. That seems way too far away. But I would like them to do this. I think WWE should just go all in with Roxana Perez. It's not like she's going to get any better in NXT. She's good to go right now, right? She's got no more learning to do. But I don't think she is going to lose the NXT Women's Championship in like a week, so I don't know how these two things converge. But I think that would have been awesome. You call her up, she becomes the first ever Women's United States Champion, then you just sell her and sell her and sell her, because she's only like 22 years old, and she's already brilliant, so imagine what she's going to evolve into, like a Pokemon down the line. So I've stuck it at number 8, because there is a part of me that would love this. When I sit down and actually search my feelings, well, it's the anti-Star Wars. I don't believe it to be true. And number 7 is Jord and Grace. Exactly the same deal. Does she need to be in NXT? No. Will she probably hang out there and play Nintendo for a little bit come January? Yes. but it just establishes her to the main audience, the main roster audience, who may not know who she is, because we're all nerds. We're like, everybody knows who Jord and Grace is. It's just not true, right? Especially in 2024. The WWE mainstream audience is so dialed into WWE. It's not an insult to the other wrestlers, but they only care about those people, which is probably like why Julia or Stephanie Vakaya needs to go through NXT a little bit, just so you go, look, there are wrestlers outside of this bubble, and they're also really good. But Jord and Grace is going to fly. You'd have to imagine, I think she renegotiated her contract with TNA, so it now not expires, so to speak, but she can go anywhere in January. It's probably too far away to do so with the US title, but it's just another person that could rock in, and she's going to have good matches with everyone. And when it comes to Jordine as well, she offers something different because, of course, she is, we need to come up with a new one for these, but she is, was it big men slapping man meat, but in reverse? So big women slapping women meat. It just sounds worse. I don't know why. But she is all good to go with that. And I want to see her versus Jade Cargill. I want to see her versus Bianca Belair. I want to see her versus Rhea Ripley. That would be a good one too. I mean, Grace is a lot shorter than them, but that doesn't matter. That just means you can tell a story in a completely different way. And I'm pretty sure Jade Cargill is like 6 feet tall, and Jord and Grace is about, 5'3"? Be amazing. I promise you, it would be so damn good. So, once again, it's a bit of a Hail Mary. It's not going to happen, but she should be in the conversation. Number 6 is Naomi. Now, I actually would have put Naomi further up this list. I think we did do it when we discussed it before. But she's feuding with Nia Jax right now, and she's feuding with Tiffany Stratton, so I don't want to take her out the world title scene, give her a US championship. I want to somehow will into existence that she wins the big one, although you can both describe them as that, I suppose. Naomi has never gotten her due. She's always been underrated, and what she's doing now is the best she has been doing since she came back at the Royal Rumble, but we can absolutely do more. And if I was running WWE, which I'm not, by the way, which may surprise you, I would have her earmarked for a big push in 2025. I just think, I'll just use the same phrase again, she's underutilized. And if you have underutilized talent in a division that you always want to be moving and growing and surprising people, she should win the Royal Rumble or be in for a title shot. Maybe we can turn her heel. I don't think we've ever done that in WWE, and we can give her a go there. So she should be somebody that you think about when it comes to the secondary title, but let her win the big one first, and then when that's done, we can put her in that division instead. Sound good? Great. And number 5 is Jade Cargill as well. Again, you just can't fit it in with the time frame. But when Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill do split up, Bianca Belair should go back into the singles division and go after the world title. And now this exists, Jade should do that too. However, the reason I put her at number 5, slap bang in the middle, is this could be used as the seed. I don't think Bianca Belair should turn heel. I think Jade would be a better heel because Bianca is just, well, she could be the best babyface on the roster. You could argue that. But if somehow Jade was able to win this, and then she kind of started to get a little bit arrogant and a bit like, oh man, I told you, Bianca Belair, I'm the best person in the team because I'm a tag team champion and a United States champion. Maybe that can kind of irk Bianca. Maybe you could do a double tease, right? So Bianca's like, oh, I'm going to beat you up, and she doesn't because she's a good person. And then it's Jade that boots her right in the face and gives her a jaded. But then moving into WrestleMania, their feud would be for the US title. Would that be so bad? I don't think it would be. It would just mean, because I would imagine if she holds it and then Bianca Belair wins at WrestleMania, then she can't go into the world title scene. But then whoever beats Bianca Belair is beating Bianca Belair, and now I can't even say her name. I think that's quite good. Maybe I need to shuffle this list. That's how I think they should break up. And then the singles match is for the US Championship, and Bianca Belair does win it. And then you've had 4 months or whatever it was to re-establish Jade as a singles performer, and Bianca Belair has the star power, so she would add the magic sauce to that title. That's what we should do. Number 4 is Charlotte Flair, just because this is me thinking with my head. When she does come back, I mean, I would imagine they would rather put her in the main event scene, whatever you want to call it. But again, if she won that belt, instantly people are going to care about it because there will be some idiot naysayers who are like, oh man, I don't even care about that belt. But you give it to like someone, Charlotte Flair's legacy, you can't help but get on board with it. You just can't. It would irk people. It's the problem because obviously Charlotte Flair has this, it's kind of unfair. She's been pushed in a way that represents her talent, right? She's really, really good. She's like a special performer. But because she has won so many championships and sometimes she just turns up and wins belts, I think maybe understandably and maybe a little bit unfairly, people kind of have earmarked her as, oh, she doesn't deserve it or she has too much airtime, which I don't believe because I think if you have somebody like Charlotte Flair, you don't underutilize them. Again, we've kind of talked about it with other people in this list. So it's a difficult one because it would create some controversy. But is that the worst thing in the world? She still does have a huge fan base that could then sort of fight back and rally against that. And once more, whoever beats Charlotte Flair should be getting a good rub as long as we book them in the right way going forward. I just think she has to be in the conversation because I don't know when she is good to go. Obviously had a horrible injury in 2024. But if there is not enough room in the world title scene just because we have these programs planned for a while, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to throw people that have proper name value into a championship that is brand new. It's like what we did with the Men's World Heavyweight Championship. We had to give it to people in order to heat it up to where we needed it to be. And while maybe it's not as comparable with the WWE title, it's in way better shape than when we released it a year or so ago. And you're going to have to put the work in here as well, although actually when it comes to the women's division, this is far more needed, so you may be able to get away with it there too. But if you don't have Charlotte Flair in your lists, it's probably because you're a little bit biased. Number 3 is Bayley, because anytime a championship comes up, I'm going to say Bayley's name, because talk about underrated performers, she is number 1 in the entire company. I mean, as much as I love the fact she won the World Championship at WrestleMania 41, I never really felt like we got on that wagon properly either. I thought it was quite disappointing, really, and if Bayley was disappointed too, I'd be like, yes, you should be. You never got a proper feud, but because she connects so well with the audience, she is somebody that can absolutely survive this, and these days, she's basically a legend of the entire division. She's had some of the best women's matches in WWE ever, so it once again just tells you should care about this title because look who's winning it. And then I don't really advocate for long title reigns anymore because we did it with Gunther, we did it with Roman Reigns, and we did it with a bunch of other people. Bayley should hold on to it for a damn year, 365 days, and she should beat everybody, man, and she should beat them cleanly. 1, 2, 3, and we should all love her for it. I do not think that is going to happen, but I really do hope she can kind of not make that division her own, but if WWE aren't going to establish her properly in the women's division when it comes to the World Championships, then do it here instead. Like, I don't mind the Candace Ray feud at the moment, but she's kind of still sort of feuding with Nia Jax, but also not, and she's not trying to win that title back. Did she even get a rematch? And let's not pretend that WWE doesn't do those, because they absolutely do. So that's an interesting one. I think it probably speaks to what I want to happen as opposed to what is going to happen. But if I don't say it, I can't manifest it into existence. Number 2 is Julia, right? I've been watching Julia on NXT for the past month. Apparently the NXT t-shirt they released of her outsold a bunch of shirts, like proper, oh my gosh, she's making a bunch of money here. I understand that they are using her in NXT to allow her to acclimatize to the United States of America. I don't think she needs it. I mean, listen, people there are going to know better than me. But in terms of what we're seeing on television, I don't know what her English is like. Get someone to speak for her until she gets better. I do not think that's a problem with her. I think she has that magic around her anyway where she's going to be fine. I think she should be called up, and I think she should win this title, the US Championship, and I think then she should whoop everybody's ass. A bit like what you do with Bayley. If you do it with Bayley, she would probably be the person that got their ass kicked and then got the win. Whereas if you gave it to Julia, she should kick everybody's ass. Then there's a mini comeback, but she goes, I don't care about that. And she gets the 1, 2, 3. I mean, she's going to be such a big star. There was all this sort of rhetoric beforehand. Oh, she's not going to adapt to the WWE style. Seems to be adapting to it to me. Doesn't seem to have a problem. And that 10-man tag we did on NXT the other day. I mean, she's probably going to be NXT Women's Champion before she does anything on the main roster. But I just think it would be such a good option. And I think because she could actually take over the whole thing, eventually, she could be a WrestleMania main eventer. She could be, someone that wins a world championship and holds it for ages. A great way to watch them climb the ladder would actually be that she's NXT champion now. But it's what we're going to do with Roxana Perez, right? But obviously, Julia, in terms of her WWE run, is just behind that. But I just think it would be so good. And because WWE does have such high hopes, as soon as she did debut and she won this thing, then the other fans who aren't aware of her, they get on board. Whoopsie Bob's your uncle. And you know who number 1 is? It's the person I always talk about. And out of everybody on this list, is the person I want to win it the most. It's Chelsea Green. I just think it would be so much fun and it would be so much entertaining. And sometimes that annoys people like, oh man, a championship should be treated seriously. I'm not saying treated like a joke, man, but I'm saying that Chelsea can bring you anything you want. You want it to be the babyface that gets her ass whipped, she can do that. You want it to be the heel that cheats, you can do that. You want to add a little bit of levity and a little bit of comedy into your matches, you can do that. You want someone who's going to sell that championship like it's the best thing that's ever happened to them. I think actually Chelsea is better than anybody on this list. It's just when you do the consistent work that she does, I don't know about you, but as a fan, I'm like, I want that person to have a defining moment, whatever that may be. And because she is I guess, got no ego and is happy to do whatever you ask, including being thrown into dumpster when people pretended that she smelled, which was really, really strange. I think eventually that needs to go full circle and you give them something as a pat on the back, which is essentially what titles are. Of course, they mean a lot as well and they're very prestigious. And for Chelsea Green, especially with her character and the fact, you're meant to be wound up by her, if she could just walk around going, oh, I was the first ever Women's United States champion, I just think it would be so damn good. So forget anybody else from 2 through 10. This is what we should do for number 1. And I just think Chelsea Green would be so good at it. And then no matter what happens after that, she always has this. You can always fall back on it. And it probably would turn her baby face in many ways, because I think a lot of people would feel the same. But yeah, we're talking about what my heart wants. Chelsea's number 1. And I put number 1 literally 2. Now, of course, the most important thing is what you think. I would have missed a load of people because I've only got 10 slots here, so drop them in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell ding ding to get notified and all of that. Click the video on the screen, which is me talking about more wrestling. Otherwise, it is grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off. And there's big sales coming soon too. It's going to be Black Friday, so make sure you get on those as well. Go Fitness. Use code Simon20 to train at home with Anthony Agogo. Patreon.com/Simon316. Simon316 on Instagram, Twitter, and all those social media kind of things. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon Miller on Cameo if you'd like a personalized message. And ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller for brand new wrestling tees all of the time. Otherwise, just enjoy wrestling, my friends. That's the point of it. See you soon.